Sleek, fierce, savage, deadly. A super breed of killer fish that can swim, fly, and attack at any time. The new breed is here. Faster, more ferocious, and infinitely more deadly. Piranha 2, you are not safe out of the water.
If I didn't have so much to drink tonight, I'd swear I was seeing things.
Did you miss out on the Piranha sequel? Don't sweat it. Let's give you a quick refresher. Two diving enthusiasts become a snack for a mysterious creature. A local biologist and diving instructor try to warn the hotel guest and the administration of the annual fishing contest about the lurking monster.
Piranha.
But the allure of the warm Caribbean Sea and the thrill of casting a line are too tempting to resist. The biologist figures out that the culprits are genetically modified piranhas,
the ultimate killer organism.
and now not only shrug off saltwater, but have sprouted wings to boot. Flying bloodthirsty fish. Well, you can guess what happens next, even if you're not a big slasher fan. To get why Cameron got sucked into this mess of silliness and gore, let's first meet Ovidio Assanitis, the notorious Italian producer. Back in '77, he directed the horror flick Tentacles, and 3 years later, he pretty much ripped off The Omen with this movie, The Visitor.
Can I scare you?
Warner Brothers, the American investors, would only fork over the cash if Ovidio agreed to hire an American director. They figured this would balance out the flamboyant European producer and ensure the film appealed to U.S. audiences.
I can't figure out why I came to a small island for my vacation. I mean, I live on a small island. Oh, really? Which one?
Manhattan.
Assanitis would agree, bring on an inexpensive newbie, let them get through the pre-production, and then a couple of days into shooting, he'd fire them for incompetence and finish the film himself.
Oh, Christ.
This trick worked twice before, so for Piranha, which was funded with $500,000, they found their third sucker, James Cameron.
He put me with an Italian crew who spoke no English, even though I was assured that they would all speak English. And I actually had to learn some Italian very quickly.
Naive and thrilled about the chance to direct his own film, James jetted off to Rome. He signed the contract, pocketed $5,000 in advance, worked on the script and storyboards, then flew out to Jamaica where Ovidio's team was supposed to be gearing up to shoot. But he found their prep was laughably slack. With only a week to go, they hadn't scouted a single location. Cameron hired a taxi and spent a whole day racing around the city, making deals with a hotel, police station, and the local morgue.
Hey, this is the morgue.
Very good.
But there was a hitch at the morgue. James assumed they'd clear out the, let's say, occupants, but the staff left everything as it was. So the scene was literally separated from realism by a thin divider behind which lay real gore. During the crew's lunch break, pathologists took one body splashing blood on the floor. Cameron asked the actors to hang tight and, not wanting to freak out his crew, cleaned up the mess himself.
No damn respect. Isn't that right, love?
Amidst the chaos, though, you could see glimmers of the filmmaker Cameron would become. If you squint hard, you could spot elements reminiscent of Aliens and The Abyss, techniques that would later animate facehuggers, Cameron's fascination with water, and even a familiar face. Lance Henriksen, who played the sheriff, struck up a friendship with James between takes and would soon receive more than one casting call from him.
It must be something we haven't seen yet.
But back then, Cameron, being a director, was as far-fetched as Piranha matching Jaws in a claim. Just 5 days after filming started, he got a call from Rome. He was fired. Ovidio had reviewed the footage and declared it uneditable.
Well, now what else could it be, huh?
Realizing he'd been conned, Cameron demanded his name be removed from the credits. But the name was the only thing the producer wanted from him, so the ex-director got the cold shoulder.
He basically came in and said, your stuff doesn't work, doesn't cut together, it's a pile of junk, and you're off the movie. and then he took over the film.
So I took over, and I asked him to stay next to me up to the end of the movie and to learn. And he did it.
I mean, okay, maybe I'm just bad. Maybe I'm just not good.
And of course he was very upset about it. He was suffering a lot. But, we are not playing games. No. We're making movies. Or we're not at school.
Half a year later, Cameron scraped together enough to buy a one-way ticket to Rome. His mission? To convince Ovidio to show him the final cut of the film they'd snatched away. If his scenes were really that bad, he could stop torturing himself with doubt and peacefully return to designing spaceships with tits.
And he wouldn't show me any of the film. And I had been in Rome prepping the film for a couple of weeks before we went, and I remembered the code to get in. And so I went in and I just ran the film for myself. It wasn't that bad.
His scenes were just as good as he'd imagined. It was Asanidi's creativity that had tanked the film, stuffing the reel with topless women on yachts and giving them the lion's share of screen time.
Sounds great.
Imagine having your name forever linked to such a nightmare. Worse than anything, the film's characters endured.
And I made a few changes before I flew back, which I don't know if they ever caught. I don't know if the editor ever noticed that I actually fixed a couple things.
Sneaking into the editing room at night, he spent a month in Rome doing this, surviving on leftovers he swiped from trays outside hotel rooms. There he also suffered one of the worst fevers of his life, hallucinating about a chrome torso with a red eye emerging from flames.
This is fucking great.
Cameron's efforts to save the edit were in vain. Ovidio Asenita showed his cut of the film to Warner Brothers, who were horrified and promptly rejected it. The film would eventually surface 2 years later, released by a small outfit mainly known for churning out adult films. Decades later, Cameron would half-jokingly call Piranhas the greatest flying fish movie ever made and perfect for cracking open a cold one.
It's a gift from the sea.
But back in the spring of 1982, laughter was the last thing on his mind. Strapped for cash, he borrowed some money for a plane ticket and headed back to California, armed with a sketch of an original idea inspired by a bout with the flu. Well, if flying killer fish didn't scare you off, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for more. Drop your thoughts in the comments and stay tuned for the next video where we will talk about the Terminator.